Ice cream! Ice cream! The ice cream man is coming! The ice cream man is coming! Ma! Ma! Throw down some money! The ice cream man is coming! So I go chasing after the ice cream truck, and I'm all winded. I'm like, ice cream man, let me get 2 chocolate bars, 1 cone, and 2 waffles. Thank you, ice cream man, thank you. So I get my ice cream. I got everything I needed. I got everything I wanted. The run was worth it, and I just sit there with my ice cream. You know, kids be going like, I have some ice cream. I have some ice cream. I have some ice cream. You didn't get none because you are on the welfare. In translation for everybody out there, I got subscribers. I got subscribers. I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna take them off the rack. And I'm just gonna look at my favorite YouTubers and do like, you got no more subscribers. Got no subscribers. Got no subscribers. Got no subscribers. Cause you went viral on TikTok. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. I am so excited to be here with you. Red, hot, spicy, and delirious. So for anybody that is unaware of this HBO special on 1983 starring Eddie Murphy, it might not be a feature-length film because we only do feature-length films on this channel. But if you love movies, then I'm assuming you would subscribe to this. But if you are also a big fan of pop culture, then you're here also. But outside of those two, the only ways you would even be a subscriber on this channel are any other things. If you just so happen to see that I have a YouTube channel and you subscribe, or you just heard about it, or family members have spreaded the word, my mom, my dad have spreaded the word to you, and you are here and you are seeing 20-year-old young black man talk about the movies and pieces of entertainment, cinematic entertainment that he loves, welcome. And if you're new, welcome. And to my most recent subscribers at work, welcome to Sterling on Sinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And again, as part of my today is Wednesday, way back Wednesday, and for the sub playlist, the Eddie Murphy Show. I'll be giving you my review on Delirious. And the reason why this is here, despite not being a film, a theatrical film, that's actually Raw. Raw was a theatrical stand-up special, like some of the stand-up specials that some comedians get, is because this was such a high point in Eddie Murphy's career. This pretty much tells us everything that Mr. Murphy was all about. Because, he changed. He didn't stop being funny, but he soon gained knowledge on some of the stuff that he would speak so fruitlessly about and so ignorantly about in these shows that, he started getting knowledge. He started having a different point of view on these select topics, even the ones that gave him controversy. But we'll get into that. So, taped live and in concert at the Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. on August 17th, 1983. Depending on what age you are, if you're in your 30s or 40s, some of you may have been there when you were in your teens. And for those of you who are new, like me, if you've never heard of this, if you were told about this, like me, and you have seen Delirious, then you have praised this film. You have praised this stand-up like it is the godfather of all black comedy, or maybe all comedians, every stand-up comedy that came after. But Delirious captures Eddie Murphy's wild and outrageous stand-up comedy act, which he performed across the United States to standing room only audiences. Can you imagine telling the same old farting in the tub jokes, or running after the ice cream jokes, or barbecue bits, gully google, or oh my hi, or just racist jokes or television jokes to 50 states, telling the same punchlines to 50 states? Hey, now you know how comedians feel when, well, maybe that's why comedians won't always smile at these jokes, because they're so used to hearing it that they're not jokes, they're stories. But Eddie Murphy's comedy was groundbreaking in a way like no other raw comedian before him, even Richard Pryor. Completely new, razor sharp. I mean, the type of material that cuts deep into your nerves. Like sometimes comedians, Eddie Murphy and beyond, will tell these jokes that really strike a nerve, that have you standing up or looking concerned, like, or maybe a little offended. But if you are the type that gets offended easily, you might not be watching specials like these or stand-up comedies. But his act is definitely hysterical and nutty. Eddie Murphy pontificates, say that word, pontificates in his own vulgarly hilarious fashion on multiple topics, from bizarre sexual fantasies to reliving the family barbecue, and is seasoned with Eddie's one-of-a-kind wit that you will never find on Saturday Night Live, that you could have never found on Saturday Night Live. There are two sides to the Murphy coin, to the Murphy money. You got the mild side, and you got the spicy side, and this is what you get here, the spice. The audience is guaranteed to laugh along as Eddie reminisces on hot childhood days, and the ice cream man intermixed with classic vocal parodies of top American entertainers like Michael Jackson, or Stevie Wonder, or James Brown, or Elvis. Experience Eddie Murphy at his best, live, red hot, spicy, delirious, uncensored, uncut. The basic premise and description alone of this 1 hour, 10-minute special really sums up how much weight and impact Eddie Murphy has made on everybody who was there that night. If you are in your 40s or 30s, at this point, if you were born in the 80s, we're in the 2020s, so you should be in your early 40s. You would have been there 18 that night, and you probably would have been shocked and devastated by what was said on that stage, but at the same time, purely entertained. And anybody who would watch it in the future, like me, which is the best thing about archives, the beauty of archives, no matter what time period you're from, it'll always be there. Like I love watching archival footage of some of those great entertainers from back in the day that will always stand the test of time, like Michael Jackson. Some of the household comedians would go on to follow in Murphy's footsteps, whether that be Saturday Night Live, like I mentioned in my 48 Hours review, check that out, or stand-up comedy, like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Ping Pang Pow, Tracy Morgan, Bernie Mac, Eddie Griffin, Cat Williams, Jamie Foxx, Tiffany Haddish, Russell Brand, Gabriel Iglesias, Martin Lawrence, Bill Burr, Chris Tucker, or the Wayans family. And the Wayans family have had their share of launching the careers of many other entertainers, but that's a whole different conversation. Each of these comedians have had their seeds of silliness planted from Murphy's golden comedy act, whether that be Delirious or elsewhere. Even before Delirious, Eddie Murphy caught people's attention on SNL. I have to bring this up because this is so important in this guy's story. The one show that his contribution has caused to skyrocket reviews and ratings and attention and launched the careers of countless comedic talents like Kenan Thompson, who is now the longest running SNL cast member, Jay Farrell, the master of impressions, Maya Rudolph, Kate McKinnon, A.D. Bryant, Colin Jost, the husband of Scarlett Johansson, Michael Shea, Jimmy Fallon, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and many, 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 many more. You guys get the idea. Every funny name that you've probably heard of in the comedies, in the black comedies that you've seen come out in the past decades or have heard of, they all came from Saturday Night Live. Therefore, they all had their start because of the impact in the legacy that Eddie Murphy left for that path to be paved. So when it comes to Delirious, it is easier to see this as comedy gold when you grew up in the 80s rather than being somebody of this generation and watching this with a concrete approach. If you are somebody that is watching this like any comedy, you might feel disinterested by the show because of how unrelated some of the topics are to modern conditions. But if you're just a big fan of stand-up comedy, like if comedy is your thing, you've probably watched Delirious a million times, no matter which generation you came from. The underwhelming feeling you may have towards the show is by no means in conjunction to Eddie's witty genius. Now, furthermore, Eddie Murphy's level of dominance is at an all-time high here, and we see him unveiling his stand-up ammunition without the constraints of live TV or NBC. Now, when I first watched this, and I've watched this whole show, like I've watched the show from start to finish 3 times, and it's always going to be funny. But it will never be as funny as the first time you watched it. But the first clip I watched from Delirious was when he was doing a Michael Jackson impression. I was laughing so hard. And not because of his impression. I mean, his impression was amazing. It was spot on, like always. But what he said about what he was talking about, like how he said it, and the way he was describing it. Like when he was on Michael Jackson, he said he can sing, and he is a very good-looking guy, but he's not the most masculine man you've ever seen. because people may have not realized that. I mean, they may have, but they don't want to point that out. But to see an entertainer come out and say that Michael Jackson isn't a very masculine person, it has people rolling on the floor because it's true. So after that, he did the whole impression with the soft-spoken tone of voice compared to the very soulful singing that he has. Y'all know how Michael Jackson sings. But the point is, these jokes, when they come out of his mouth, it's funny, but they don't stick. You know, he's no Dave Chappelle, no disrespect to Dave Chappelle, and no diminishing to Eddie Murphy's level of genius in his comedic timing. But because it is from the 80s, there are some parts that can get old, and then there are some parts that can't stick with you just because of how great they are, how genius they are, and how unpredictable the jokes are. Again, they come out of their mouth. When they come out of his mouth, it's funny, but it doesn't stick. So it makes the jump, but it doesn't stick the land. I mean, it sticks the landing, but it doesn't stay there for long. And let's be honest. When you're an amazing entertainer or comedian like Eddie Murphy, you don't want the constraints, the code of conducts, the constrictions by any live TV network. You don't want ABC or NBC or CBS to determine which words come out of your mouth. Like if you want to say the F word or the N word or talk about whatever you want to talk about, NBC constrains all of that, contains what you say. But channels, late night channels, premium channels like HBO, you say whatever you want to say, and that's the beauty of this one. And the people were so eager to see an off-limits Eddie unload his arsenal because they had never heard him talk about homosexuals like that, or to give a backstory or to tell a story so well with so many layered jokes, like a million little bits of jokes making them one giant punchline. It's like a splitting atom, Now, while it is a wholesome and downright historical moment in pop culture, it was partially timeless and partially a gem that only fits the 80s. In a nutshell, Delirious gives us the best of both worlds, as standing the test of time and being an oldie but goodie, but it is a definitive piece of controversy both then and now. Like, if this stuff was being said, it would still be controversial. Like, the way he was talking about comedians here, if it was being said on stage by any other comedian, or if he were to come back, which I know he will, I have faith, please, Jesus, let Eddie Murphy come back and perform in 2022 or sometime in the future. It doesn't have to be this year. But Mr. Murphy, you have promised that you have wanted to come back on stage. But I know that whatever you're talking about, it's going to be funny. So comedians like Chappelle speak on cultural topics that Eddie spoke here, and they are still gaining controversy to this day. Because when you watch a Chappelle special, you know the next day there's going to be haters on TikTok and cancel culture doing what they do best, doing what they don't get paid to do. However, this is the part of the special that falls under the DNA of holding up after decades of release. Meanwhile, observational comedy bits like the ice cream truck, the impressions of entertainers of that era, G.I. Joe, TV does not hold up. Those bits don't hold up like that. But again, when the joke is being said, it's funny, but it fades away after it is said. But the value of it will always be priceless. But none of this does not affect Eddie's impeccable talent. I'm just saying that these things were relatable then, but they're not relatable now. Because we got ice cream trucks now, but we don't run after them crazy like crazy. And yes, the ice cream trucks, when it comes, the way it comes to the neighborhood, it can still look ghetto, but we don't chase after them like that. I don't see no kids, 7-year-old kids chase after the ice cream truck. Unarguably, the best bits in both this and Raw are the prolonged segments. For Delirious, it is the cookout with him, Charlie Murphy, Uncle Gus, Aunt Bunny, and Vernie, Goonie Google, and Angela Davis, Afro, wearing looking kids, and Scooby-Doo, and not cleaning them up into the dog, and the crap standing there in room temperature so long that the crap that the dog let loose in the living room becomes the new furniture. That is iconic. That stands the test of time. Because it is part relatable, but you see it more as a today situation than you would as an 80s situation. And for Raw, it is sex, love, sex, and marriage. But that will be in a later review. That you will expect that on this channel because that is a theatrical stand-up film. Rotten Tomatoes gives Eddie Murphy Delirious an 83% recommendation. Part-time, ahead of his time, and part-time in 80s gym, Delirious allows Eddie Murphy to spread his wings that he never thought he'd be able to fly with elsewhere. He proves to us that he is the rightful king of stand-up comedy, with his role being red leather, and his throne and his scepter being a microphone, and his throne being the stage. Through his outrageous observations, dead-on impressions, which still shock me today, and an irresistible blend of raunchiness and genius storytelling that he only would have got from the man himself, but which results in a resilient crowd reception. And I just got to say that one of the things that makes this so rewatchable is the crowd. I love the crowd. And I know some of you might be saying, the crowd, really? The crowd? Yes. When I hear comedians say, you've been a great audience, I have to love them for saying that, because as an entertainer, nothing can feel more encouraging than having the audience or the consumers or the people that are paying to see your stuff respond to it very well. And every second, it's like an avalanche of laughter in the middle, on the sides, in the balcony, up. Everything is nothing but laughter. Avalanches of clapping and laughter. And I have never seen a comedian hold fast and hold strong on that, or command so much reception like that strong for a prolonged period of time. Like the longevity of applause and standing ovations and the audience sometimes being the butt of the joke. It's amazing. It is immeasurable. So I will give it an 8.7 out of 10 SOs. That is my discussion / review on Delirious. Does it still hold up for you? If not, it is okay. This thing will always be here to make us laugh, even if the jokes don't stick with you like it would with Chappelle's jokes. Me personally, I can say the same. I can believe the same thing I told you guys, that the jokes don't stick with me, but they are funny when they are being said. Come on, the barbecue bit, Goonie Gogo, falling down the stairs, half an hour later. How is that not genius? It is not easy to tell a joke like that. But that is my review on Delirious. You can let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time with my next review.